Hello and welcome. Since our last tete-a-tete over a few weeks ago, there's been some huge changes in the market, and no doubt you've seen it a lot with Deutsche Bank. It seems almost hourly there's news with Deutsche, either within their plans to cut, to look for another merger, which again, that doesn't look particularly likely at the moment. And the recent news of 20,000 people potentially being cut. Now, that's not a guarantee. It's something that we've obviously all seen in the market, and it obviously does mean that their equities business is going to be heavily impacted by this. Now, hopefully those that are in the market, in equities, in Deutsche, or at Deutsche, they will have the opportunity to either move within another company, another bank, or potentially within another field. But hopefully there are plenty of opportunities out there for everyone in the bank. Additionally, what you've seen really over the last 4 weeks, especially from our side, is the emergence of the potential winners for the next 3-4 years. And there is that local franchise, there is the market champions, the local champions, and those who are sector specialists seem to be progressing in one way or another. Now, that's not to say they will win outright. I believe that the stronger of both the primary and secondary markets coming together will actually form a stronger business. Now, whilst there's Deutsche who are certainly on the ropes, there are certainly a few other banks who are there or thereabouts. Now, there's constant speculation at the moment about Societe Generale and whether they will keep their equities business. There's been rumours of potential sales or conversations happening, and whether that does progress, we're still unsure, and what happens there, again, no one's really any the wiser at the moment, but do look out for that and see what happens in the coming weeks and months. In the same breath, the UK market hasn't really had any changes yet, and whilst Numis is certainly seemingly the strongest in the market, you do have that element that Peel Hunt are starting to take a little bit more of market share. But again, there seems to be rumours around Peel Hunt, there seems to be rumours about Liberum Capital, about Senkos, even about Panmure. So there are a lot of potential happenings in the market, and whether it's some of the big banks that have been named like the Macquarie's, RBC's been mentioned recently, and also Santander previously. Now, whether one of those banks come in and either merge with them, create some kind of partnership, a JV, whatever it may be, there is certainly something quite big to happen, and even Redburn to that matter. I still believe there's an element for them where they're very, very strong in terms of their research, but without the primary platform, it is tough. And I think many people are finding it particularly tough without primary, even in a Brexit market, which is obviously hampering primary, as we know, and we've talked about that before. It is still down 65% there or thereabouts, depending on who you are and where you're focusing. So look, in this element, there is so much to happen to mature, so to speak. And within that, you can start to see that the market is shrinking in many respects. There are less players in the market. Maybe you can't see it just yet, but the strength is certainly moving to the top. People say obviously the cream rises to the top. Obviously that is a potential possibility in this case. And you can see even the tier one firms, whilst they do offer the wider platform, there is still rumblings of discontent on the lack of service, the touch points. And again, we still have to work out where the next 2-3 years are going to lead us, what the buy side really do need. And again, the buy side this year are having an extremely tough time, while some funds are doing particularly well. And I suggest back to Greg Kofi, who we mentioned about a year and a half ago when he was backed by Lewis Bacon, I think December 2017, if memory serves. And you can see that his fund, which is, as we all know with Greg, he focuses on downturns and recessions. And if he's anything to go by, we may be ending that way towards the end of this year. So it's those kind of funds that have seemed progressively positive over the last really 18 months, and they do keep on getting better and better. So I don't know if that's a signal of things to come, but the buy side as a whole has got a huge amount of change, whether it's internal shifting to build research teams and corporate access, or whether it's working out really what they need the sell side for. And again, within the sell side, whilst research is still extremely important, either for primary or for secondary alpha generation, it's the effect of sales which is coming back, or salespeople which are coming back into the market a little bit more. And there is no question that any client out there who, let's for example, if you're speaking to a firm who's got 1,000 European stocks, it's very difficult for a fund manager to read all the research or to hear about all the research. What they want is for someone to know what they're looking at, what they cover, what they hold, what they potentially might be interested in, and any nuggets of information or potential alpha or primary that comes through within those or potentially within those sectors, that's the ones they want, the touch points. And that's where sales is becoming more and more useful. And we're starting to hear and see the buy side coming back more and more and suggesting that this is what they need again. So potentially you will get another layer in the next, again, 18 months where sales is actually generating their own kind of profit model. Of course, it can't be split away from research, so advisory gets bigger and there'll be internal arguments, no doubt, about that pot, but still, there is a value add there. So there will have to be a metric that will be formulated again in the coming years to ascertain who is doing what, and no doubt there'll be many reviews and account managers who will sort that out for both the buy and the sell side. So guys, look, there is just an amazing amount of turnover in terms of people, in terms of focus, and in terms of hiring. You know, don't get worried or concerned. There is definitely hiring happening. Now, as I've always said before, it's those who really are at the top level who are being hired now, those who can really make a difference, who can, you know, shift the needle 1 or 2%, or even 5-10% to be fair. If anyone can do that, then no doubt they're going to be hired pretty quickly. And those who have got those individuals in their firms are no doubt trying to keep hold of them and to make them feel as happy as they can do. Now, the one thing that, again, which is happening in the market, and there is a division between where you work and how you work. On the entrepreneurship is certainly always tended to be more the tier 2s and tier 3s, where you're giving an opportunity to grow and to develop and actually to breathe a little bit. Whereas a lot of people feel the frustration of the tier 1 red tape and restrictions hampers them. Although at the same time, there are individuals who are much better suited to that formulaic approach, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's finding your way in this market and finding the best source of where your career can go, where you can develop, and really where you can get the best of yourself. But there is no question, absolutely none, in this market, it doesn't matter where you are, if you do not love this job, get out. You're not going to be better than the people who have the passion for it. You're not going to do more than them. You're not going to overwork them. And even if you're desperate for money, these guys will do it for pure love. So I'm saying to you now, do this for love, for passion, and then everything else comes after that. I couldn't leave you on a better note, apart from saying, look after yourself, everyone around you, and make sure that whatever you do it with the greatest will you possibly can. Because the more you do, the more you'll give back, and the more you'll receive yourself. Good luck, God bless. Take care.